What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Welcome to our daily show where we discuss the fourth stimulus package update, stimulus check update, daily news, and everything going on here in our country, in Washington, D.C., money, investing, the stock market, and everything you need to know about on a daily basis. If you're new to our YouTube channel here, make sure to click the subscribe button down below. It's completely free to do so you don't miss out on new videos that come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll keep you up to date here with everything. And don't forget to hit the like button for us down below if you find these videos helpful. Thank you so much. You guys are amazing. We got several different things to talk about here today. We're going to go over a new $500 per month stimulus check program going on here that's launching here. I'm going to give you the details on that. Also, we're going to have an interview going on here about several other programs like this that you'll hear about here today. And there's a lot going on here. We're going to jump right in. We got lots to talk about. Okay, this is a big reminder that the IRS is sending out a crucial letter. It's called IRS Letter 6419 that you may be receiving in the mail from your to file your 2021 taxes here. That the IRS is accepting as starting today on January 24th here. So you definitely want to, if you've received this letter already, you need to hold on to this. Here's why. You can see here, parents are flooded with paperwork every single day of the year, but this year, you absolutely want to keep track of this one key letter, which is letter 6419, to be sent to you by none other than the IRS, the Internal Revenue Service. Do not throw this letter away. Keep it with all of your other important tax paperwork, including your W-2s. Repeat, keep this letter and do your taxes. The IRS said in early January that it started issuing these letters in December to those who receive advanced child tax credit money last year. But many parents had yet to spot this letter in the mail as of January, mid-January, late January. It's important to keep an eye out for this information. Because the IRS will kick off tax season on January 24th when it first begins accepting and processing tax returns starting today. January 24th is the day that the IRS actually starts accepting tax returns. So if you did an online file with like TurboTax, if you filed online, you may have been able to do this early, and then the online service just basically held on to the tax return for you and then will file it today. Most likely will be the case. If you're married filing jointly, be on the lookout because as you can see here, you actually will receive two letters, one for each parent. Yeah, believe it or not. So the IRS, you can see here, will be sending two letters because each parent actually receives payments kind of the way it works here in the IRS's eyes. So believe it or not, if you file a joint return, you must add the amounts in box 1 for both letters 6419 and enter the total amount on schedule 8812. And you kind of need to know this information from what the IRS gives you and the total amounts that are in these letters. Also, it's important to note that from the child tax credits, you only got half the payments. Remember, the first half of this money, $1,500 to $1,800 per child, is still owed to you. And you'll get that on your 2021 tax returns that you can file now in 2022. So you're still owed $1,500 to $1,800 per child, and you get that on your 2021 tax returns that you file now in 2022. If you don't normally file a tax return, you're going to want to file a 2021 tax return this year. Even if it's just a simple tax return, you're going to want to file that. So you can just go to Google and file IRS simple tax return, or if you don't know what you're doing or you're not sure, you might want to consult a tax professional, call up your uncle or aunt or somebody who knows what they're doing, or just walk into a company like H&R Block or something like that and pay them $100 or something like that. So you do this right because you want to get $1,500 to $1,800 per child. And if you had a new baby born in 2021, they're entitled to the $3,600 child tax credits and the $1,400 stimulus check for a total of $5,000. So make sure you get that, because if you don't claim it, you'll miss out on that 5,000 bucks. So yeah, be very aware of that. Okay, they're owed a stimulus check as well, just like everybody else got that $1,400 stimulus check. Same thing for 2020 as well. The other thing we're seeing right now is we're seeing a lot of stories like this, where the virus surge and the Omicron surge and the 8.8 million people that are out right now, that you can see here. 8.8 million Americans are out of work because they're sick. This was actually as of a few days ago. It could be even more at this point, could be close to 10 million, whatever the latest count is. 8.8 million people were out of work because of quarantine, because of how bad the Omicron variant is. We have 800,000 people on a daily basis on average testing positive, and it's really starting to affect the economy. As you can see here, new virus cases surge, hindering the economic recovery. And this is really spurring a lot of discussions for, do we need new stimulus? Do we need new stimulus packages? The Build Back Better stimulus packages? Do we need more stimulus checks? Do we need more business stimulus? Do we need more paycheck protection program stimulus? The economy is really, really suffering, and millions of people are out of work, and there's no paid family and medical leave. That was one of the provisions in the Build Back Better package. And what is going to be done for millions of people that are struggling? Don't forget, there's also a full 25% of Americans right now, due to recent reports, that are behind or cannot pay their monthly bills. That's about 70 to 80 million people right now that cannot pay their bills on a monthly basis. That's a lot of people. And this pandemic has just exacerbated everything and made it worse. And then we're having stories like this. The state of Washington, the Washington hospitals have issued an urgent plea to the public amid the recent virus spike. Yeah, you can see here, hospitals in Washington state issued an urgent plea to the public on Saturday, asking residents to do their part and reduce the pressure on healthcare facilities overwhelmed by the virus. In a statement released on Saturday, King County hospitals underscored the rapid increase in illness in the state, citing data that hospitalizations were up by 700% of people admitted each day. It went from, in this one area, 8 people per day to 70 people per day. In King County. Quote, the sheer number of patients mean hospitals, acute care, and ICUs across the state are very full. Hospitals are doing everything they can with critical staffing levels to provide care in the most challenging situation we've seen to date, said the Washington State Hospital Association president, CEO Cassie Sauer, said in a statement. Wow. Along with capacity issues, hospitals are experiencing a shortage of staff, leading to difficulties getting patients discharged. Wow. And we're continuing to see more countries and areas go into full-blown lockdowns. The islands of Samoa imposed a full-blown lockdown over the weekend here as well, and closed their borders amid new virus cases as well, as there's an outbreak there. So we're starting to see more and more lockdowns, closures, restrictions across the world, in different parts of the world. It really just depends. We have not really seen that yet here in the US, at least not full-blown lockdowns. We have seen partial, like, business type closures and school closures. We have hundreds, if not thousands, of schools that have closed and gone full blown remote here in the US to prevent the spread of the virus. Yeah, this is controversial because some people believe in this, some parents believe in this, some parents don't. It really just depends on the side of the fence that you're on. And we have a lot of course, everybody has their own different opinion. You can let me know your thoughts here in the comments. And meanwhile, we have a lot of varying opinions on what we should do for the economic recovery. Meanwhile, we have a lot of states, cities, and counties launching their own economic stimulus programs, stimulus check programs, guaranteed income programs, universal basic income programs, where they will actually pay people, their residents, monthly checks, anywhere from several $100s per month, $500 per month, $1,000 per month or more, called universal basic income or guaranteed basic income. Here is an interview on NBC talking about a couple of these programs, and then I'll tell you about a new one that's launching here right after.
Joining me now, Hope Wallensack, co-director of Georgia's In Her Hands Guaranteed Income Initiative, and my friend Michael Tubbs, who ran a very successful guaranteed basic income experiment as the former mayor of Stockton, California. He's now an advisor to Governor Gavin Newsom, and he's the author of the book, The Deeper the Roots. Very happy to have you both. Hope, I'll start with you. How are women selected to be a part of the In Her Hands program?
Terrific. Yes, thank you so much for having me. Eligible women in Georgia can apply for the program starting as early as March of this year. And so we'll be focused on 3 areas across the state. The Old Fourth Ward neighborhood, it's an area with extreme inequality. It's also the birthplace of Dr. Martin Luther King and where he and Coretta are buried today. It also will be focused in Southwest Georgia. We're one of the only programs in the country to have a focus on rural areas because we know economic insecurity is not just an urban issue. It's pervasive across rural areas, suburban areas, and really across our country. And then we'll have also a site in the Atlanta suburbs. So women in need, about 200% of the federal poverty line, can apply for the program as it launches in their eligible areas.
That's a really, it's my neck of the woods. So that's a really interesting program, and I'll be very interested in seeing how that plays out. And Michael Tubbs, you know all about it because you tried a guaranteed income program in Stockton, California during your tenure as mayor. What was the impact that it had on your city?
What we saw with the guaranteed income program in Stockton is similar to what we saw with the stimulus checks and what we saw with the child tax credit, and mainly that people know how to spend money. When we talk about a guaranteed income, we're talking about giving people a floor and the ability to pay for childcare so they could go to work, the ability to get their car fixed, the ability to take care of their kids and their families and other necessities. So I'm so inspired by the work of Hope and the over 60-plus programs going on nationwide, including Minnie ran in conjunction with Mayors for Guaranteed Income, because we see community leaders and mayors standing up and saying, even if Joe Manchin or the federal government doesn't get it, we have to have an income floor, and we can actually get rid of poverty in our country and unlock all type of potential and productivity.
I think something that people don't realize is it's very expensive to be poor. I certainly did not live in wealthy neighborhoods. And so those corner markets, they have the same prices as Whole Foods, but for not the quality of the food that you get. And when people are impoverished, it eventually becomes all of our problem. Eventually, we do have to collectively, address these issues, and it impacts the taxes that we pay, our neighborhoods, our schools, et cetera. Something interesting for you, Michael, a study found that actually employment rose during the time that you were giving people a universal basic income. Their financial and physical and emotional health improved. And one of our producers noted that even the people who weren't receiving these funds, their employment chances rose. So it was really by osmosis that it uplifted a community, which is, really interesting. Many of these programs, Hope, are done through public-private partnerships. I know your program is running alongside in Atlanta their own guaranteed basic income experiment that they're doing. But I'm curious, how can you scale this? Because some people get caught up in, well, we're just giving people money for nothing. So that's an issue. And then if somebody's making 6 figures, when you say universal, people will think, well, why are we giving wealthy people money who don't need it? So explain that.
Yeah, absolutely. These are great questions. So when we say guaranteed income versus maybe, let's say, UBI, a guaranteed income might be a focused, unconditional cash transfers to members of a particular community. So, I think there's much that we've learned about guaranteed income from the sort of experiments that have happened across the country. And yet there are still things that we are seeking to learn. And principally, I think among them are, how does this work in rural areas? How does this work for some of the people who are experiencing the most acute impacts of economic insecurity in our economy because of structural and systemic factors like Black women? And so we're excited that our program and the scale of this program is going to build on the incredible work Mayor Tubbs has led in Stockton, Aisha Nyandoro has led in Jackson, Mississippi, and many others across the country to think about what does a guaranteed income program look like at scale and focused on those really most in need, and how we center Black women who are experiencing, because of, again, systemic factors, some of the most acute impacts of economic insecurity, although it's incredibly pervasive across the country, how we really center those and how we think about program design. Philanthropically funded programs or programs in cities, a couple dozen pilots across the country is not going to be sufficient for long-term systemic change. And so we're excited that there'll be learnings out of this program that can influence policy while improving the outcomes.
And something interesting, Alaska's universal basic income, it has really impacted their state in a positive way. They give each resident a check every year, and it's cut poverty and warped the state's politics. Since 1982, Alaska's been giving every woman, man, and child an annual chunk of its nest egg, and that's $66.3 billion. So this can work, and I hope that both of these programs are successful.
And Democratic Representative Ilhan Omar has introduced a bill to give $1,200 every month to everybody that makes less than $75,000 per year. This is a bill that has been introduced into Congress, which would basically be like stimulus checks every single month. They call it universal basic income, stimulus checks every single month, kind of the same things. Not much difference, just kind of different kind of wording, in my opinion. But universal basic income, Ilhan Omar has introduced a bill to do this. And when you think about the child tax credits, this is a very, very similar thing. That's $300, $250 to $300 per month. And in a lot of cases, it's very, very similar. So, and we do have counties and cities and states doing this all across the country. And we just had another one here launch in Minnesota. Minneapolis, Minnesota, Guaranteed Basic Income Program pilot has just launched here. Here is the information on this. You can see here, applicants will find out soon whether they're among families to win the chance to participate in Minneapolis's Guaranteed Basic Income Program, where the city will provide $500 per month for 2 years to enrolled families who live in certain zip codes and receive no more than half of Minneapolis's area median income. Participants must also have been hurt by the pandemic. So again, $500 per month for 2 years to families in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Basically, again, monthly stimulus checks, universal basic income, same kind of things. You use the extra money in a way that makes sense for you. So no kind of restrictions, $500 per month. Again, another type of universal basic income program. Program goals are to provide families flexibility to balance immediate needs such as rent and food with long-term investments, including college tuition, vehicle repairs, and help families become financially secure. Basically, use the money however you wish. These programs, added on top of other programs like food stamps, subsidized housing, and other mean-tested benefits for families, may also be received. And for those who experience job loss in the pandemic, it may also function like a new 2-year unemployment benefit. Without that program's requirements to search for work, and also without recognition of the over 40,000 some recipients also collected in unemployment benefits in the wake of the pandemic. He said these programs are clearly designed to promote these models at the state and national levels, which would require higher taxes or be passed through stimulus packages. Meanwhile, Congress is already wrestling with the facto National Universal Basic Income Program for children, well, which is kind of like the child tax credits, the costs of which are great, and the proponents have hidden over $1 trillion in costs from providing those benefits over the coming decade. And if such programs are expanded nationally to include adults, as under the Minneapolis program, Universal Basic Income, they would be more expensive for taxpayers. But they would basically provide universal basic income for millions of Americans. And this is something that could happen in the future. The funds for the program came through the March 2021 American Rescue Plan Act, which is the third stimulus check package. The Minneapolis Star Tribune reported. Quote, especially coupled with long-standing work support benefits like the EITC, the Earned Income Tax Credit, and the CTC, the Child Tax Credits, that reinforces that work and not work-free benefit collection is the best path forward for low-income adults and their families, says the guy quoted here in this article. So let me know your thoughts here as we start to see more and more stimulus type of programs going forward, and we have national stimulus type of programs like this being proposed here going forward as well, like the child tax credits, but possibly for adults here as well, whether they call it universal basic income or whatever they call it. Remember, the child tax credits went out to 60 million children last year, and were increased from $2,000 to $3,000 to $3,600. If they don't pass it again this year, they're going to go down back to $2,000, but they will be excluded for a lot of people that didn't qualify for them before. So it would be more beneficial if they're able to repass them sometime here in the near future and increase them back up from 2,000 to 3,000 to $3,600 for children. Not only is it an increase of $1,000 more or $1,600 more. Remember, it's $3,600 for children under the age of 6, and $3,000 for children over the age of 6 to 17. But also, we have other programs like this universal basic income going on all across the country, and also being considered nationally for low income or middle income Americans as well. So I'll keep you up to date here on everything stimulus related and daily news that you need to know about. Make sure to click the subscribe button down below. It's completely free to do so. Join our family of subscribers so you don't miss out on new videos that come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can click here to watch my newest video next. And this video is how there's $5,000 in tax refunds that you might miss out on if you don't know about them. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks, guys, and I will see you in the next video.